Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, returning to you for another album review tonight. Hopefully you will enjoy this next album review for yours truly's new record, Toxic, that I got a chance to check out for myself, see what I was going to think of this record overall. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for yours truly's new album, Toxic, and let you know my thoughts on this record overall for the 10 tracks that are part of this record. Sorry about my voice being still messed up. Might want to take a nap in a little bit, but I basically want to get all these albums done for you and then just go take a nap or something. But pretty much let's dive into this album review tonight. Now, I'm still recovering from the seasonal asthma, so just hopefully you can bear with me in this review because I know my voice is going to crack a few times, as you can tell. Back to You was a pretty good song. Michaela's vocals do sound good, but there are some cringy moments through this track that I found to be slightly weak. With the chanting, whatever things she was doing for this track. I don't know, it just wasn't appealing to me, the opening track, but it wasn't bad. So I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5. Sour was the second single for this record, and I think it was a strong single for sure. Came out back in May of this year, and it was pretty enjoyable for the most part. So I'd give this a 5 out of 5. It's pretty catchy. Michaela's vocals sound pretty good. Edgy in a good way, and it sounds really good. So 5 out of 5. California Sober is a pretty strong track too. It took me a little bit to get used to this one, but I do like it for how it sounds. So another 5 out of 5. The drum work's pretty good. Michaela's vocals sound amazing, and everything about this track flows pretty well. So Let Go is the next track on the record. As a regular song, it sounds pretty good. I really dig this track. So give me a second. I gotta pause the video real quick. Sorry about that, guys. My mom was calling me for a second. So Let Go was a pretty strong track. Michaela's vocals pretty much work with this track. I really dig how the structure of the drum work, guitar work, and just everything about her vocals pretty much worked for this. She really shined in this track with her vocals. So this is a 5 out of 5. All That I'm Not is another strong track too for how it sounds. I really dig Michaela's vocals, and I just think the track flows pretty well. It starts off slow paced with her falsetto vocals, but it still works in a good way. And this track was a banger for sure. So another strong track, 5 out of 5. Love Feels Like was solid for what it went for. It's a good track, but for a minute and 53 seconds, you get just an interlude of going into the next track, which is Bloodshot Eyes. But I'd give Love Feels Like a 4.5 out of 5. Didn't really go anywhere with this track, but it was good. At least it was a good track, but not anything I'd come back to a lot. Bloodshot Eyes is a strong track for how it sounds. I like Michaela's vocals in this track, and execution-wise, I think the track pretty much was a banger. And definitely had some pretty good hardcore punk sounds, pop punk sounds that I really enjoyed. And this track pretty much kicked ass, so 5 out of 5. Then you get Sinking featuring Bloom, the 8th track on the record, which is another strong track. So pretty much Sinking featuring Bloom is a strong track for how it sounds. I really dig how this track really sounded overall, and Michaela's vocals really shined in this one. I think the guy from Bloom sounded really good, screaming vocal-wise, and just execution-wise, this track pretty much hit it off in a good way. So 5 out of 5. Desaturated is a pretty good song for 2 minutes and 27 seconds going into the last track, which is the first single that came out, but a good way to end the record. I think this was a pretty good track in its own way for Desaturated. So this is a 4.75 out of 5. Not my favorite, but not a bad one. Call My Name was a favorite, personally. I think this was one of their best songs by yours truly. I know they had a few bandmates leave the band. A bandmate or two leave the band of yours truly recently, this year, I think. So they've had to kind of pick up the slack on this second album and try to work with the band members they have. I think it's 2 or 3 band members, honestly. But overall, with what I listened to with Call My Name, Michaela's vocals really shined in this track, and execution-wise, this track was a banger. And I really enjoyed the pacing of the song and just how it progressed this track, with the chorus sounding catchy, the verses sounding good, the falsettos from Michaela sounding good, and this track was the best closing track for the record, and a perfect closing track, so 5 out of 5. Overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I think Yours Truly Toxic, the new album by them, their sophomore record, is actually a really good album. I was really impressed with this. I don't think it's as good as Self-Care, but it's still strong. Maybe it's about the same, I don't know, but I did enjoy this record. It's still a strong record. There are some execution flaws with a couple tracks like Back to You, Love Feels Like, and Desaturated, but I think Love Feels Like was the only one I had a major issue with, not a big issue, just a minor issue. I had a few minor issues with this record, with how it's executing, but overall, I think this record played it safe in a strong way, and I think Yours Truly has become one of my favorite bands so far in the 2020s era of music, the 2020s decade of music. So pretty much for a score, for me, I'm giving Yours Truly Toxic a 9 out of 10. A pretty strong record. Highly recommend you check this record out if you have not listened to this record by Yours Truly with the album Toxic. So 9 out of 10 for Yours Truly Toxic. I'm sorry about the background noise. I gotta go deal with that in just a moment. But with that being said, hope you guys have a good night, and thanks for watching this album review.